You finding it?
Yes.
Can you see me? You got a chat button there?
I'm listening. You have access to the microphone. Oh, there we go.
Hey, I don't know if anybody's on there or not. I'm just trying to learn how to do this live stuff. I am terrible at it. Says I'm live, but I don't really know. I don't know how to. Now live on your channel. Okay, so I guess I am live because I got King of, and I can't pronounce these, King of Hugo Mundo. Anyways, so that's good enough. Let's go. Hey, so I'll wait for a few more people. So I'm doing this live here because I have no clue how to do this live, and I've already screwed up. And I thought I knew how to do it, and I had something already set, and then I don't know how to get it started once I got it set. And so I'm just doing this. So I had to start over from scratch. So Angela Stolen, how you doing? Angela from California. Hey, if you guys are in the chat, and I got my wife helping me here because I can't chew gum and talk at the same time. So I can't read this stuff. So my wife's going to read these. So if you guys got any questions or comments, my wife's going to read these and let me know. Are you able to read any of the comments?
I'm not seeing anything.
She's not seeing any of the comments. Is there a place on there that says, hey, Jamie Cunningham, winging it. I am winging it. Let's see. King, your videos are good content. Thanks. I appreciate that, man. Sometimes I wonder why I even do these. I wonder if people like them or not. It takes a lot of my time, which I don't have a lot of time, but I do it for you guys, and I do enjoy it. But it cuts out a lot of my time trying to put some of these videos together. So I appreciate you letting me know that you like them. Tuba Lizards. Terry, thanks for keeping all the old stories alive. Thank you for watching them. John Colvin, love you legends. Keep up the great work. Thank you guys. So I got my wife. So the plan here was I can't talk and read these things at the same time. I get lost. So my wife was going to read them for me if you had any questions or anything. And she's trying to figure out how to get on to read them. So, like I say, I have no idea what I'm doing live. I tried to start one live, had a great thumbnail for it and everything. And somehow I don't know how to make it work. Your thoughts on many people saying there's a road in the Grand Canyon that connects to Africa? I can't hardly read that. I got something in the way. So there's a lot of thoughts that, this was the old Egypt, and Egypt picked up and moved from here. I have no idea about that, but there is a lot of interesting things in this country, and you think over time things have been buried. Robert Shrewsbury and Dan Dillman, who is going to be speaking at our 2024 Moon Lake gathering. Are you getting these yet, Betty? Because these things are going to scroll by, and I'm not gonna be able to, huh? She's trying to get so she can read your questions to me. Anyways, Dan Dillman, who's going to be speaking at our 2024 Moon Lake gathering, he was on the History Channel. Oh, my wife's got it. Okay, so he was on the show History Channel, searching lost Aztec gold, something like that. Anyways, their family uncovered some giants, some ancient things, and it was 65 feet deep. Well, if you're thinking that they had, and at one time that was ground level. So if you're talking these ancient Egyptians, that this was the where they was, this stuff's 65 feet deep at a minimum, so the history is covered up by a lot of earth. So anyway, so is this really the old Egypt? I don't know. There's been some Egyptian artifacts found here. There's things buried here. So who knows? Julio Gayton. Hi, Terry. What's your opinion on the South and North America origins? What culture is older? Man, I am not an expert on this stuff. I've made myself an expert on a few things that I've found that I wanted to know about. North America origins. What's your opinion on the South and North American origins? Back in the East or the Midwest, all them pyramids there, they are pyramids. The mound builders, they built huge earthen mounds that just astonishing. The labor to make them, and they did it all by hand, but it's been covered, erased, the history of what was there. I don't know. I'm not that smart in that. There's a lot more smarter people than me. My claim to fame is I know a lot of smart people. So you guys are all smarter than me. So I don't have a good answer on that. The stuff's in the
Terry, they're asking if we're going to have a roped off area for cameras and things like that at the gathering.
My wife says, are we going to have a roped off? That's a good question. If you guys are want to film, if you got a YouTube channel, Facebook channel, and you want to film the gathering, by all means, go ahead.
That was from A.V. Adams.
A.V. Adams, man, if you're coming, we'll definitely make room for you. Yes, A.V. Adams, if you guys are coming to the gathering, A.V. Adams is one smart guy, and you need to get and talk with him, and I'll hit me up and I'll introduce you to him. We'll make something, A.V. Adams, but that's a great question. That's a question I can answer. So yeah, that's a great idea. I will see if we can't figure out something. We can't, with all the tall tripods and all that, we don't want to block everybody. So I don't know if we'll put something in the corner. I don't know how we'll do this, but hit me up and we'll figure out something. So A.V. Adams, I will make arrangements for you. And he says, I plan to. Cool. We got any other questions? So back to Dan Dillman, who's going to be one of the speakers. Their family uncovered some giants. This isn't hearsay. This isn't secondhand. This is their family uncovered and some artifacts. And Dan's going to try and bring one of the artifacts. He doesn't know if he can do that. There's a lot of things that went on there. But we will see what he brings. But any more kind of questions, or I got to look over to my wife. She's my question giver.
Oh, well, I'm trying to read them. They're asking about, somebody's talking about the treasure of the El Dorado.
So
Apache treasure.
The what?
Apache treasure.
So, A.V. Adams might could answer that one a lot better than me. The treasure of El Dorado, I don't know if that's tied in with the 7 cities of Cibola, and all that stems back from part of the Aztec tradition, that they took their treasure and hid it to the land, their ancient homeland, Aztec land. But they said that there were 7 caches, 7 caves, 7. If you go into some of the old Aztec codexes, they show footprints leading off in 7 different directions. And some people say it's the 7 caves of, and I don't know if El Dorado is part of that, but El Dorado is supposed to be a big treasure. Like I say, I don't know all these treasure stories. I only know the ones that I deal with. The Lost Roads Mine, Brewers Cave. I've done a lot with Burrows Cave.
AV's asking if there's a hike this year.
So this year, AV, we don't have a hike planned. Last year, I just thought I low-keyed had Del Bascom give us a tour of Moon Lake and some of the things. Del Bascom ended up with a copper map that showed where there was some Spanish stuff in the Moon Lake area, and he took people on the tour. And I had no idea. I couldn't make that. I had to set up for the event. And so when I seen the video, one of the guys threw a drone up and showed a video, and everybody that went there was so many people there that there's no way they could have heard what Dale had to say. You know, there was over 100 people on that trail, and so they just got to go on a nice nature hike. And so I thought, man, we better not do that again. But we are going to have some speakers up to Moon Lake, and I imagine you might could. Well, I don't know. I imagine we might could bend some arms, you know, Del Bascom to maybe take a small group. But if there's so many, the people can't hear it anyway. But on Friday during the day, I think starting at 9 o'clock up to Moon Lake, we've got Daryl Wilson going to talk about Bigfoot. And then we've got Dave Bullock going to talk about his family and the Lost Roads mine. And then after that, we've got Kent Smith, who's going to be talking. Kent Smith is man, he's a walking encyclopedia, treasure hunting stories for the Uinta Mountains, you know. So he is a wealth of knowledge in that kind of stuff. And then possibly after that, we might have Del Bascom up there, but we don't have anything planned for a hike up there as of yet.
Someone was asking if we're going to have a follow-up interview with Daryl
Lane. With Daryl Lane. Man, Daryl Lane, he's got some stories. Daryl Lane came to the Moon Lake Gathering last year. I don't know if he's planning on coming this year or not. I do have a follow-up interview of Daryl telling his whole story, which is incredible. He's telling things that he does not want the public to know right now. And so I promised him I wouldn't release it until after he passed away.
Brian Tucker from Southern Illinois said hi.
Hey, Brian Tucker from Southern Illinois. How you doing? Southern Illinois. Illinois has got some interesting things with Burrows Cave. Some people think that Burrows Cave is a fraud. I think some of Burrows Caves is a fraud. And if people that don't know what Burrows Cave is, you know, that's kind of an Egyptian culture, you know, that they say that Mark Antony and Cleopatra's son, Alexander Helios, fled Egypt with Mark Antony and Cleopatra's bodies and plus a bunch of artifacts and sailed over here to the Americas, and they ended up there in Illinois. There was a lot of stuff in that cave that Russell Burrows got out. He got a bunch of gold. He melted it down. It was gold artifacts. He melted it down, a bunch of artifacts. There were some frauds. There was some fakes. When Burrows figured out people was willing to pay a lot of money after he'd already sold some for cheap, and that he started counterfeiting some people say. Is that true? I don't know. We did some tests on that, and one of the pieces that we felt was a fraud. But I do think there's something to that story. I do think there was things in that cave. So you got some cool old things there in Illinois, along with the mounds, with the stuffs like that. So
Eli Barnes from Arkansas loves your stories and thinks he's got some stuff on his land.
Eli Barnes, that would be cool to know what you got on your lands. You know, my situation is I have to work for a living just like you guys. YouTube doesn't pay me enough to do this. For the time that I put into YouTube, it definitely ain't worth it. But what is worth it to me is to get to meet you guys, you know, because I get to hear stories that I would have never, ever heard before if it hadn't have been for you guys, you know, because you guys are the guys that are smart. You guys are the guys that have the stories. And so I appreciate you guys, and that makes it all worth it to me, you know. And so anyways.
Nick Potts is asking about the stone bear.
Who?
Nick Potts. Nick
Potts, the stone bear. So the story of the stone bear, I reposted it. So this happened a few years ago. We've been out there. I've been out there a couple times, but Mike Lockwood has been on a trip out there five times. It's a grueling hike. It's a 13-mile hike just to set up a base camp. You can take horses. Well, the first times we had some horses scheduled, and the wrangler, I took some guys out elk hunting, and they beat up his horses, and so he had to cancel on us. We was going to take Mark Butler up there with us. He's the guy that's seen the stone bear. We had it all arranged with the horses, but when that canceled, Mark had to cancel because he's got a bad knee, and he couldn't hike in there the 13 miles carrying all our provisions to stay there for a week. So me and Mike went up there, and camped out for a week, and we scoured the area and we never found it. Well, we come back and we had pictures. Now we know more what the area looked like. So we got on satellite on Google Earth, and we brought Mark over, and he kind of clued us in where we was at, and we was in the wrong area. So we've gone back several. Mike Lockwood's gone back several times. I think 5 times. Well, I want to back up. That's 13 miles just to set up base camp. Then from base camp, it's another half a day hike to get to where this bear was. And so Mike Lockwood's gone in there several other times. I think 5 times, and scouring the areas that we've been, but we haven't been able to track down this bear. We haven't even tried looking for the stone carvings, the stone columns carved into the cliff face, because it's even going to be harder to get to. We wanted to find the stone bear first, so we'd have evidences, As of yet, that hasn't happened. So we got horses ready for the following year, and Mark Butler, he developed a heart condition, so his wife wouldn't even let him go up there and spend, a week up there with us, even though we had horses ready. And so that hasn't happened. So now I'm working on trying to get a helicopter that we can fly up there with, because it's looking for a needle in the haystack. This is a wilderness area. This is high into the Uintas. It's like looking for a needle in the haystack. It's a vast unexplored area. And so with all the vegetation, the trees and the cliff rocks and everything, so I'm trying to see if I can't round up a helicopter that we can get Mark to fly and pinpoint and say, this is the area you need to be, because, and I have no reason to doubt that this bear is not real. Mark's seen it. Mark wouldn't lie. He said it. The detail of the carving on it, I asked him specifically, you sure this isn't just a pile of rocks that looks like a bear? This ain't like looking and seeing clouds in the air, that look like an animal or something. He says, no, this was specifically so detailed that on the hair, they carved little diamonds in it, and then they carved the hair in these little diamonds all over him, and some of the hair was curled up. He had the mouth open, the teeth were carved, it had carvings for the eyes, and it looked like maybe at one time there could have been jewels or something in for the eyes, but there wasn't in there now. Had claws, one of the arms, this wasn't a rock that just kind of looked like a bear. This was a life-size actual carving of a bear, so the answer to that, we're still looking, but it's not as easy as you would think. So
the soul transfer protocol, bringing friends to the gathering.
They what?
Bringing friends.
Who's bringing the friends?
The soul transfer protocol.
Soul transfer protocol, man. Bring as many friends as you want, So this gathering, this cost me just like it cost you to come to this. I'm not making it. Nobody's making a dime off of this. I got to pay for my lodging, my food, my gas to get there. Just like you guys, the speakers, they got to pay for all theirs. We're not paying the speakers. And to get caliber people, like the History Channel's on that Aztec show, Dan Dillman, to get Robert Kreider, who's got some incredible stories, Bill Bettinson, who knows his great-grandmother was Butch Cassidy's sisters, and he ended up with all her information on that, the letters and that. Ryan Burns, who owns the ranch right next door to Skinwalker Ranch, and he's had some crazy things happen, just like they do on Skinwalker Ranch. And I don't know if I should tell any of it, but maybe I will tell. I don't want to spoil what he's going to be talking about, and I don't really know what he's going to say, but I know one of the things is he had one of these metal shipping containers, one of these Connexes on his property, and one day, man, it was picked somehow. There was no tire marks. There was no nothing. It had picked up and turned 180 degrees. And that was magnetized. He could put a piece of metal onto it, and it was magnetized. That metal would stick to it. And crazy things, and how that even happened, I don't even know, to be magnetized. I would think somehow it had to been maybe picked up with some kind of a magnet or something, and still had the magnetism to it. I don't know how that would even happen, But I lost track of what I was saying. Bringing your friends, yeah. So this, I get sidetracked real easy. My mouth works fast. My brain works faster than my mouth, and so sometimes I think I've said something, and I really haven't. I'll take a video of myself and I'll watch, and I think that was stupid. That didn't even make any sense. So, anyways, so yeah, bring your friends. Our speakers, they're not getting paid either, and so. This is just for you guys to have a great time so that we can all come from all across the country, and people do come from all across the country just to meet each other. And the highlight of this whole thing, we're going to have great speakers. We're going to have all these breakout group things going on so you can learn some things. But the greatest thing, this is going to be the greatest networking experience you'll ever have, to meet treasure hunters, UFO, Bigfoot people from all across the country. And if you don't have the answers to some of your puzzles, some of these guys will. There's a lot of smart people that are going to be there, and you guys are part of the smart people. So, man, if you're coming, say hi to me, introduce yourself, and say hi, because that's why I do this, is because of you guys. It's meeting people like you, and getting to hear the stories that most people will never get to hear, seeing the artifacts that most people will never get to see, and meeting the people, that most people will never get to meet. And speaking of that, there's artifacts shows up at this, but the problem is they don't want to show everybody. And so I get to see them, but a lot of times most everybody doesn't. So if you see a small group, especially hanging around the fence lines, if you see a small group, just kind of wander over there and just kind of eavesdrop and check and see what's going on. They don't want to tell everybody. And if you're shy, you don't have to say nothing, but introduce yourself if you're not, because there's a lot of smart guys there. And if you have a specific question, hit me up and I'll put you in touch with the right person. My wife says I'm talking too much. Okay, what else you got?
Walt says he'll be there.
Walt Krugel? Walt, man, I hope you are there. So if you're the Walt I'm thinking of, Walt's a great guy, and Walt has some, if this is the Walt I'm thinking of, he has a lot of great stories. And Walt's one great guy to get to know. And
Daryl Lane is coming.
Daryl Lane's coming. So, holy cow, man. Just for that reason alone, you guys need to come and hear Daryl Lane's stories. Get with and hear Daryl's stories. He's got a wealth of information, and Daryl is a smart guy. You got Spanish questions, on what symbols are, how to interpret them. Get with Daryl. Daryl has proven how this stuff works, because he's tracked them down and verified them. So,
he's not coming.
Oh, Daryl's not coming. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I wish Daryl was coming. Daryl's a great guy with lots of information. So.
Walt just says it's me. I don't know who this is.
Yeah. Cool. What else we got?
Oh.
I'm glad she's reading them because I don't do so good. She's messing up. You can scroll down back to see him or whatever.
Okay, we got one up here. Flyest in America. Terry, did Robert Shrewsbury ever show you the Brewers Cave mummies? And what happened to them?
So somebody asked, I don't know if you can hear my wife. Did Robert Shrewsbury ever show me the Brewers Cave mummies? So Robert Shrewsbury had congenital heart disease, and he knew he didn't have long to live. And so he contacted me and he says, Terry, I've not got long to live. Come and talk to me, And so I did. I went and talked to him. And he says, I've been holding this, close to my vest where the Brewer Cave location is. He says, I'm going to give it to you. You'll know what to do with it. And so he gave me he never took me in and showed me anything, but he gave me the GPS location. So here's the deal. I think I have found where Brewers Cave is. The problem is where it's located. It's locked up. I can't put a shovel in the ground. I can't do anything with it. I got a lawyer out of Arizona, and we contacted the lawyer out of Utah that helped drafted the antiquities laws. And without we put him under lawyer-client confidentialities, and we basically told him what I was doing, but we didn't tell him where or who I was. Well, he told me I just will sell drugs because as soon as I get caught digging, I'm going to prison just the same. And so I've been working with a young archaeologist student who got his master's, and we've been trying to get permission, you know, but we have to deal with 3 different agencies. We have to deal with the Utah State, we have to deal with the Paiutes, and we have to deal with the Utes. And it's not happened to be able to legally do a dig. It's not my intentions to go in there and loot that thing. It's my intentions to go in there, video the thing, call my archaeologists, have him video the thing, or have him video it. I know if there's giants or in these stone sarcophaguses, we'll save that till later, as till the last. And then as soon as you uncover, as soon as you got human remains, you have to call the sheriff, the archaeologist, to make sure that it's not a modern day crime scene, you know. And then as soon as that happens, who knows what would happen? But by then I've already got it all videoed, and I wanted to release it to the public. That's my plans. But until I can really dig, you know, who knows? So everything that I've learned about Brewers Cave pointed me to an area. Everything fit. There's a big, long story to this, why I think everything fit. But the location Robert Shrewsbury gave me is not the location where I thought it was. So I don't know. I haven't had time to really inspect Robert Shrewsbury's location very much yet. Hopefully I get to do that this year. As of now, I don't know. Maybe, you know, Brewer did have several locations. He found a map rock that showed 33 locations scattered throughout the western United States, and 7 of them was in that valley.
Matt is asking if Robert was a genealogist.
I don't know if Robert was a genealogist, but Robert had a high IQ, and he was a smart guy. I don't know if he's a genealogist or not, but I know he was a smart. He was one heck of a researcher, and he not only just researched, he tested things. You know, he was an alchemist. He was doing processing of precious metals. I mean, he was a smart guy. I'm looking.
Any updates on the Lost Roads mine?
The Lost Roads mine. You know, people have been looking that forever, and you know, there's been some people that found a little bit of gold, but nobody's found the Karashanov, the big one, or a lot of it. You know, it's hidden pretty good. The Indians, you know, the Spaniards came in. The Spaniards came in, enslaved the Indians, made them show them where the gold was. Plus, they found their own mines, and then they enslaved the Indians, made them work it. They worked them right to death. The Indians didn't like that program, so the Indians banded together, and they had them outnumbered, but the Spaniards had them outnumbered with the golden weapons and that. But the Indians held them off and wiped them out. The Spaniards out, drove them out, and then whatever it took for the tribe to do. If it took all year for the whole tribe to cover up a mine, to hide the gold bars, they did it because they didn't want the Spaniards coming back and finding the old mines and enslaving their people again. And so whatever it took, and then they had guardians that guarded these places. And back in the day, if any white man got too close, you know, they ended up disappearing. Or, you know, today I don't know if the Indians really know where this stuff is. I think they have an idea where it could be, but I don't think they really know 100%. But time is eroding some of the things. Time is uncovering some of the things. To uncover some of these mines, you know, like I said, it took the whole tribe the whole summer to cover these mines up. That means they backfilled hundreds and hundreds of feet of tunnels, you know, and they did that. So to uncover some of these things, you know, Greg Gardner found one and started uncovering them. The timbers was so rotten that you could just touch the timbers, man, and they'd crumble. Well, he found an old Spanish coin in there dated from the 1400s in there. So, you know, to my knowledge, nobody's found the Lost Roads mine yet. What has been found is the easy stuff. I had a friend back in the 80s who found 400 gold bars. The smallest one was 12 pounds. They weren't pure gold, you know. I think it was like, he told me, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 58% gold, and then it had a lot of other stuffs in it, copper, silver, iron, all that other stuff in it. All the easy stuff's been found. All what's left is the tough stuff. And, you know, I think I've found where some mines are, but they're tough to get to. And I don't have the time to go try and uncover them and see. But,
Canada Buddha will be there.
Canada Buddha? Cannabuda. Man, Cannabuda, make sure you come and say hi. This year is going to be epic, I think. You know, we got the Fisher Metal Detecting Company going to be there. I don't think that there's ever been a metal detecting company ever from come to Utah, and they've agreed to come, and they're bringing a lot of swag. They're going to be having some drawings for some metal detectors. They're if you don't know anything about metal detectors, hit these guys up. If you want to know where to metal detect, you want to know why you want to use a metal detector. There's a lot of stuff buried in the ground, and unless you're using a metal detector, you're not going to find it, you know. So
did Gary ever find the door on the Josephine?
So the door on the Josephine, you know, we had Tom, and I don't know how much you know of this. So we was on the History Channel on Beyond Oak Island showing that, and Tim was down there, and him and his two brothers, they was down there and exploring all day, and their lights was getting dim, and they couldn't find their way out. So they found the door accidentally, and they're still trying to find their way to get out. So their lights are going dim, and they don't have any spare batteries. This is in the early 70s. And so the two brothers shut off their lights to preserve the lights. And Tom's got his light on so that he can they're trying to just preserve on lights, and they can't find their way out. Well, Tom says, man, he got scared. He shut off his light. He knelt down and prayed, and he says, you know, hey, God, help us get out. And if, you know, help us get out, and I'll never come back again, I promise. And when he stood up, he turned his light on, and it was shining up towards the ceiling, and they seen an arrow carved in the ceiling there that pointed the way out, and it went there. Took them out. And so none of them ever went back. You know, Tom made the promise to God that he wouldn't go back, and he still to this day will not go back. We're talking about, so there's several different Josephines, and this is the one that's in above Camas in the Uinta Mountains. This is not the one on the Henry Mountains. So anyway, so we went down there. Tom tried to tell me where this door was, and I thought I went right where Tom described to us. I mean, it fit. But his brother Tim said, I never made that promise to God. I will go down there with you. So he went down with us, and we started to go down where we went with the History Channel. He says, we did not go that way. And so he says, I promise you we didn't. We went over here another way, but it all caved in right there. So we started moving a lot of boulders and rocks and stuffs out of the way, and we found a small entrance, and digging it out. While we're digging it out, you know, our head's way down close to the ground trying to pull boulders out, and we got looking up, and somebody had taken either a carbide lantern or a candle, and with the smoke or the carbide lantern wrote in with smoke or the carbide lantern some letters and numbers. So we took a picture of that, and we showed it to Tom and Tim, and they got talking about it when they got home, and they remembered when they came out of their wormhole, which is a different wormhole than we went through. When they came out of their wormhole, they can remember laying on their backs and seeing their faces pushed up against the ceiling. They remember seeing that writing there. So we've got to shore that up right there because it's the sides caving in right there. So we've got to build some shoring and do some more digging there. So no, we haven't found the door yet.
Shane Gorell says hi.
Shane, how you doing? Shane Archangel. He's out there in Arizona, the Superstition Mountains, looking for things.
Robert Wayne. Thank you, Terry.
Robert Wayne, thank you guys. How many guys we got online here? I don't even know how to see. I'm just trying to learn how to do this live video because I suck at it. I don't know how to do it or what to do it or anything. Hey, for you guys that are coming out, you know, we're trying to keep this as cheap for everybody else. As we can. We used to have free camping at the rodeo grounds there in Altamont. You know, there's no hookups, no water, no nothing, but we put porta potties in there. But this year they're remodeling the rodeo grounds, so we don't have that. So in the next town above, which is closer to Moon Lake, is the town of Mountain Home. Right across from the Mountain Home Lodge, it's a gas station, a store. right across from that, we got permission from the Mountain Home Lodge people that people can camp there. So we're going to have porta potties there. There's still not going to be any hookups or anything. There won't be any hookups in that, but you can get water at the Mountain Home Lodge if you need to fill up. If you need to get some water in that, you can fill up there. So the camping there is going to be free.
Eric,
Or
who's the best person to get in touch with for KGC symbols?
KGC symbols. So Holly Remkes is going to be there on one of our breakout sessions on Saturday. We're breaking it up. We're going to have a bunch of breakout sessions. We're going to have, what are we going to have? Fisher Metal Detectors is going to be there to show how to do the metal detectors. Del Bascom's going to be there to talk about the Lost Roads Mine, Spanish symbols. Utana Jessup's going to be there talking about Brewers Cave and Giants. We're going to have somebody there talking about and showing how to do dowsing. Holly Remkes is going to be there for, she wrote a book about the KGC symbols. She's following the KGC symbols. She's been working with Warren Getler, who wrote a book with the KG symbols. Holly Remkes was on the History Channel on Beyond Oak Island. Then we're going to have the Utah Gold prospectors there doing some showing how to do panning and stuff like that. So I would say, if you're coming to the gathering, talk to Holly Remkes. So she'll be there Saturday on some of the breakout sessions. And what our plans is there is we're just going to go for about 45 minutes to an hour. Go to one of the sessions you want to go to, and then after 45 minutes or an hour, we're going to blow a horn, and that way you can move on to the next station. So you can go to so that's going to go from, I think, 10 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and then our main show starts at 5 o'clock.
David Altman says, hey.
David Altman, how you doing, man? If you guys don't know who David Altman is, he's a producer from some of the UFO shows. He knows everybody in Hollywood and the people that has to deal with the UFO shows and all that stuff. And he came to our gathering last year for a little bit. David Altman did. David Altman's a wealth of knowledge of UFO stuffs. And David, how you doing? What else we got?
The Nazis are looking for genetic traits of the Giants for their super soldier program. That's from Travis McKnight.
Travis McKnight. I'm not that. I learned just a little bit about the Giants just to see. When I first learned about Brewers Cave, there was no internet. I didn't know that there was such a thing as giants, really. When I heard he talked about giants in these stone sarcophagus, I thought, man, this can't be real. I mean, I'd heard about David and Goliath in the Bible, but I thought it really couldn't have been live. So I don't know that much about the Giants, only what I had to learn, just to learn if the Brewers Cave story was real. But, they say that the United States is doing the same thing. They say that Kandahar giant, they took that and they're doing some genetic testing and building super soldiers for the United States. So if the United States is doing it, and how true that is, I have no idea. But if the United States is doing it, I don't know why other countries wouldn't do it, and they have the technology to do genetic stuff, so who knows what's going to be happening to us in the future.
Desert Trance is hoping to be there.
Desert Trance, I hope you get to be there too. If you guys do, man, make sure you stop me and say hi. I get busy, doing filming and that, but man, make it a point to stop and talk to me. I don't know how long I can talk to you for, but stop me anyway and at least say hi and tell me where you're from. And also, if you got a story you want me to video for you, if you want your story highlighted, and most people don't want their stories highlighted, they found some cool things and they don't want people to know who they are. They don't want their story out, but they've told me their stories anyway. But if you got a story that you don't mind sharing, man, let's figure it out and let's record your story while you're there. Let's get something figured out.
Mark Roberts would like to send you some pictures of some KGC symbols.
I'm not that great on KGC symbols, Mark, but go ahead and send them to me. Hunters, HUNTERS, HDT at gmail.com. Hunters, HDT at gmail.com. Harry Dog Tom at gmail.com. I am not the greatest at symbols. What I've dealt with, I've dealt with some of the symbols in my specific area, and here's what I've come to learn. Not all the symbols are exactly the same. You have the kings order that these symbols to the treasure trails, that they had to be exact, they had to be perfect, so that other Spaniards, if something happened to the group that was in, or when they leave and left, another group could come in, they could follow the symbols and get there. Then you can kind of track that back. But you had a lot of rogues, rogue Spaniards, rogue Mexicans, rogue the Jesuits. They had their own code system. They didn't want everybody to know what they was doing. And then you got the Indians who didn't want the others to find this stuff, so they was destroying symbols. They was doing all that. So what one symbol meant to one person might not be the same to another. Now, KGC, I would think that's a little bit more organized, because that was a group, man, of Confederates that was, they was hiding all this treasure all across the United States and into Mexico, so that they had money to fight another war, another civil war. And that's how the slogan, the South will rise again. Them guys was planning that. And then they had sentinels that was guarding us, that stuff. I haven't really got into the KGC symbols that much. But you can send me them pictures, but I don't know what good I will do you. Holly would be a lot better at that. There's going to be guys here that would be a lot better than me. I can try and guess, but that's all I can do is guess, and until you're in the area, till you try and see, what does this mean, and try and figure that out. It gets kind of hard.
Colonel Angus is asking if it's possible to use a 2-box on high mineralized Salt Lake bed, coastal islands.
Who was that? Colonel Angus?
Yes.
A 2-box on high mineralized areas. A 2-box is a great detector for if you don't want to find a lot of small stuff. It only find the bigger stuff. And so if you got an area that's riddled with nails and small things like that, it's great for that. I've had a lot of problems with mineralization. If you're in a highly mineralized area, I don't know that a 2-box would work very good at all. I think you'd get a lot of chatter. I just don't think it would work good at all. For a mineralized salt bed, something like that, you'd be better with a pulse induction and a large coil.
God rockin' June's son.
Hey.
Talk to you soon.
Hey, June's son. I miss your dad. June was a smart guy. I hope you're coming to the Moonlight Gathering, John. So if he does come, if you guys want to know, man, John's got some great stories. When he was a kid, they was on the reservation. It was legal to go on then, and John took a stick. His dad told him to take a stick and go dig around over in there, and he started finding some old Spanish stuff, the soles of shoes and things like that. John's got some stories to tell.
Space Time is asking any updates on Dinosaur Lake.
Updates on Dinosaur Lake. I have not been there, but I seen a video the other day of a helicopter was flying over one of the lakes where that story is supposedly at, and they seen a large, and this is just recently, this was within the last, it was within this year, and they seen a large object that they swimming there in this lake, and they videoed it. They took it and showed it to some zoologists or whoever, some experts, whatever they call them, and they said, wow, well, we don't know what that could be. That shouldn't be that big. That shouldn't be there. So I haven't personally gone up there and tried to find it. I think I know where it's at, but I don't know for sure. Again, you're talking, the Uintas are so vast, and to get to some of these places, you need horses and a lot of time, and I just don't have a lot of time because of my work schedule.
Sally Mon says cheers.
Cherie
loves your videos.
Cherie and Sally Mon, thank you guys. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. I know, man, I don't do a lot of talking because I'm a space case. It's the people that I interviewed. They're the ones. They're the guys that have the great stories, and I'm just lucky to know them, and I'm lucky to know you guys.
And Valley Bear says hello from San Pete.
Put a Valley Bear. Hey, I don't know if you guys can hear my wife talking or not, but So she's reading your names, and Valley Bear from San Pete, man. San Pete Valley, people didn't know, but the Spaniards were in San Pete Valley. The Spaniards was tracking down these giants because these giant tombs, they were filled with gold artifacts and stuff like that. And there has been Spanish armor. I know several people who have found Spanish armor in San Pete Valley. I wish this told me. Anyways, back to the Moon Lake Gathering, man. I think this year is going to be epic. Some of the problems we've ran, huh?
I said, thank you, Jeff. You can hear me.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jeff. So some of the problems we've ran into before, we've had our screen where the presenters had to show some their presentations, their slide. The sun was so bright that the projector didn't show that great on the projection screens. We're trying to figure that out.
83 people watching.
83 people. Cool. Where do you see that at?
Jeff just told me.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Man, I have no idea how this live really works. And this part of this is really to learn how, but I'm really not learning anything. I accidentally got it on and I don't know what I'm doing here.
Crystal and Valley Bear, say thank you.
Well, thank you, Crystal and Valley Bear. Anyways, so here's what I would suggest if you're coming to the Moon Lake Gathering. I would bring 2 sets of chairs for everybody that's coming, because you want to get a good spot in front of the stage where our speaker's going to be in the evenings, but you also want a chair where you can take to the breakout sessions because it's in a different area. You want to bring your chair. So I'd bring 2 chairs for each person that's coming. And then also, if you've got a pop-up, one of these pop-up awnings or something, if something's not going on, you want to bring one of them and put off to the side where you can sit in the shade. There's trees and stuff, but last year I never counted, but Kent Smith told me there was over 700 people there. I don't know. There was a lot of people there. I don't know if it was that many, but there was a lot of people there. So I would bring 2 chairs if I was you guys. This is outdoors, so you never know what the weather's going to be. Bring an umbrella, bring a raincoat. We've been lucky. It hasn't been that we haven't hit any rain or anything yet, but during the day it got hot. That was last year in July, so we've moved this back to August, hoping it won't be as hot, but it's still going to be warm during the day. So we're putting these breakout sessions under the trees along the fence line along the park, so it won't be as hot. But bring an umbrella with you just in case. And then man, I had something I wanted to say. 2 chairs. I lost it. Wait till you guys get my age. You won't remember either.
Colonel Angus has been meaning to contact you about different things.
Colonel Angus, email me your phone number. Man, I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of text messages, and so I go through them real fast and delete them. Sometimes I don't get to. Man, you should see all the backlogs, and I plan on getting back to people, and I never do. Email me your phone number, and if I don't answer you, in a day or 2, email me. Just keep on emailing me again, and I'll get it. Hunters, HUNTERS, HDT @gmail.com.
Crypto Alchemist said they love Terry Carter.
Oh, how special. Thank you.
Shermanator, hello.
Shermanator.
Arkansas.
Shermanator, man, has sent me a lot of great information, and he's a busy guy just like me, but he sends a lot of great information. Shermanator is a smart guy. Shermanator, man, I appreciate you. I don't, when you send me stuffs, I don't respond, but I appreciate it when you send me stuffs. What else about the Moon Lake Gathering? Bring 2 chairs. I had something else I wanted to say. We're going to have food trucks there. So you can get food trucks there or bring your own food. They've got a pavilion there where you can sit and eat. What else? Travis McKnight, the stories about beryllium crystals and their radioactive elements was mind-blowing. concerning how giants traveled underground cavern systems. So that was a lot of that came from Robert Shrewsbury. But I guess I will tell you, one of them beryllium spheres, that's what Dan Dillman is trying to bring is one of them, and I don't know that it's beryllium. I heard the person that owns it says it's so hard that they've tried to cut it with a file and they can't, and it's got a symbol notched into it. He doesn't know. Dan doesn't know if he's going to be able to bring that or not, but he's going to try. So just for that alone, you want to come and see that, just to hear Dan Dillman's stories, to hear Ryan Burns' stories, to hear Bill Bettinson's stories, to hear Robert Kreider's stories, to hear Alien Dave's stories, to hear Mark Hoover and Gary Penta, the Florida boys that are coming to the Moon Lake Gathering. You know, them guys has been involved in some of the treasure dives and some of the treasure finds on the beach there, and they got some great stories to talk that they're going to talk about that. You know, the Fisher teams, the Fisher guys are expert metal detectors. They know all the ins and the outs and where to look and all that, man. If you've thought about getting a metal detector, you don't know how to use your metal detector, ask these guys questions. You know, they'll share their knowledge with you freely. And you know, man, I just feel blessed that we have a major manufacturer that's coming to middle of nowhere, Altamont, Utah, to help support us and be a part of this. So
having an open mic where people can tell their own stories.
So I don't know if we're having an open mic this year or not. I think we probably ought to, and I probably need to twist these guys' arms and tell them we're gonna have one. I'm having a meeting with them guys tomorrow, and I would tell them, man, we need to have an open mic. But as of right now, it's not on the schedule. But I really think we need to have one.
Any updates on Mystery Glyphs?
The Mystery Glyphs. So Lee Merrimore just contacted me. They found a new one that I didn't know about. The Mystery Glyphs. That's what got me started into the ancients. When I found these in the cliffs in the mountains east of Provo, had no clue what they was. It changed me from searching for the Spanish stuff to searching for the ancient stuff, and took me in a whole new world. You know, it flipped my life upside down. It was filled anywhere from death and deception on one side of the spectrum to the joy and amazement of being able to hear stories, see artifacts, you know, that most people will never get to hear and see, and ancient stuffs. And so, you know, the more I learn about the Mystery Glyphs, the more I have no idea. You know, there is people like Lee Merrimore who says, you know, this is it. This is exactly what it is. But and he's a professional. He's a lot smarter than me. Oh man, Shermanator Osborne. He just gave me $5. Shermanator, you didn't need to do that, but I really appreciate it. Shermanator, man, thank you. Anyways, Lee Merrimore is doing the most research right now, but there's other archaeologists and things like that, doctors that are doing research and stuff, and they don't really 100% agree, but because Lee's making the most noise, you know, his theories are getting accepted, and his theories could be right. I'm not saying they're not right, but it's a guess, it's a theory. You know, some of the other guys, their theories could be right. I used to think they were ancient, and definitely somebody has been going around refreshing them, and I figured it was the natives. I figured there was somebody who was guarding them, watching over them, and refreshing them when they get deteriorated, because 100% that has happened. And so I thought they were ancient, but then when I seen the site in one of the sites in New Mexico, it showed clearly to me a guy holding a gun. And so I thought, well, it can't be as old as I thought they was then. But then somebody showed me a picture of an old Indian war club that had a piece of flint or something in it, and it stuck out, and it was bent, and it looked just like a gun. So is this petroglyph a gun, or is this one of these war clubs? I don't know.
Tyler Tipton from Santa Cruz is going to send you some things. I hope he's coming together.
Tyler Tipton from Santa Quin. Man, I hope you get to come too. Del Bascom's from Santa Quin. He's going to be there. his sister Jerry and their family's coming. There's some interesting things in Santa Quin Canyon. There's some huge quaking oak trees and aspens that have some Spanish symbols and some follow markers on them. That the pine trees were so grown over that you could only see the shadow of what used to be there. They carved the symbols in there, but the tree grew over the symbols, but you can see the shadow. And then I followed them for a long ways, and then I lost them. But there's some interesting things up there, and there's stories that one of the guardians of the Indians that used to guard, he had a route that he was guarding some of the things, and one of the things he was guarding was there in Santa Quin Canyon. So.
Do you still talk to Dan Lowe? Nick would like to know.
I do still talk to Dan Lowe. I've been so busy with working out of state and that I haven't talked to him much, but I do still talk to Dan Lowe, and Dan called me. It's been a few months ago, but he says he's coming to the gathering and bringing some of his books. So anybody wants to talk to Dan Lowe, he'll be there at the gathering. So.
Everybody's asking for the dates again.
The date of the Moon Lake Gathering is August 23rd and August 24th. I'm going to put in the comments. I wonder if I can put it in the comments here.
Well, they already did. AV did.
Oh,
they put it in there. You
put it in there, AV? We've got a website. I don't know if you can copy and paste the website that has all the details, the what's happening, where they can go camp for free, the address of the Moon Lake Gathering on all that. If you can copy and paste that, I've been putting it in the descriptions of the videos I've been putting. And, you go to that website and it'll give you who's speaking, the times, the dates, what's going on and all that. So that'll be a big help. If you got any questions about the Moon Lake Gathering, ask right now. AV says he'll look. Hey, AV Adams, he likes to be kept quiet and not known, but he is a wealth of information. And I don't know, AV Adams, if I can point you out to people. And Daryl Lane, man, you didn't have to. Daryl Lane's in the house. You didn't have to do that, Daryl. Man, Daryl Lane's in the house. If, like I said, oh, man, somebody else. $10. Who was? Oh, that's Daryl. Cool. Daryl just sent me $10. Man, Daryl, don't do that. You don't need to do that. So, but I appreciate Daryl Lane, man, for telling me his stories and that. He's a wealth of information. He is a true Renaissance prospector, man. He's too bad Daryl can't make it. He's a wealth of information, and he'd be one of the guys you guys would like to get to know. Anything else?
They're agreeing that he is a wealth of information. Watch out for small things start fires, because there's fires out there. Matthew Warren is watching. Just a reminder to be careful what you do. So
yeah, so I think right now, because of the heat and that they've got a ban on building fires and stuffs out there, and so yeah, you definitely don't want to be starting a forest fire. So here's kind of what happened in the Moon Lake area. A big forest fire came through, and then torrential rains came and washed a lot of things out. That could be good or that could be bad. That could have covered up things more, or it could have uncovered things. But definitely, when a fire went through, you could see more. So if somebody has time to hike off the beaten path and look around, you never know what you could find. And that's the thing. When you're out hiking around, you look for things that don't look natural. If you see a row of rocks that shouldn't been, that you think, man, that ain't natural, that's been put there by man. You see a depression in the ground, you got to ask yourself why, and then you got to start figuring out from there what's going on. So.
That's very true.
Treasure Tom just checked, and it's 23 hours and 33 minutes drive time. Treasure Tom, that's a long drive time, but I hope you can make it, man. Like I say, people come from all over the country. We had them from Maine to Hawaii last year and all in between. There was people from all over the place. So, and if you guys are social media content people, YouTube channels, man, you're welcome to come and film this. You're welcome to, come and get some interviews and film this for your channels, and share the information, man. The people that are willing to share the information, man, let's share the information. And heck yeah, we're all in this together. Sally Mon, if they put information on quartz crystals, maybe we can see if any information is on the crystal skulls, right? So, that's an interesting question, because quartz crystals, they use them to do the radios, the old quartz crystal radios, they use them quartz crystals for that, some people say that these quartz crystals and the crystal skulls have information locked in them. But you take a look. Just this little teeny, let's see, SD card, man. That holds a lot of information. And 30 years ago, if you'd have told me there was a lot of information on that, I'd have said you was nuts. But look at the technology. Who knows if back then they figured out a technology to lock information into them quartz crystals? Sounds crazy to me, but then when you realize that they use the quartz crystal to pick up radio frequencies and like that, maybe it ain't all that crazy. Tyler Tipton, we have found a bunch more. I seen your video and they are awesome. Thank you, Tyler. I will send you some of what I have found, but I believe I have found that sacred secret in Crystal Mountains along with Spanish graves. There's got to be a lot of stuff out there that people just don't know about, and it's buried, and unless you keep an eye out for things that don't look natural, and unless you unless you're hiking in the beaten path, you never will find it. When I was younger, part of me finding a lot of stuff is because I didn't have a truck. I had an old beat up car and I had to hike everywhere I went. And I found so much more stuff than I do nowadays because now I just jump in my four-wheeler or my four-wheel drive truck and drive the roads, and you don't find near as much, as that. So.
Bill Van Beek. Have you heard of an Indian flute sound overhead that can stop the wind and the birds from singing?
Indian flute sounds?
Mm-hmm.
Indian flute sounds. Have I heard anything about that being able to stop the wind and the birds and all that? I haven't, but there's a lot of people that say that there's a lot of like sounds and vibrations and things like that can do some things. And I believe that's kind of true because, you take a high pitched sound that can break glass, you can, so why wouldn't, some of that stuff be something like that? But I don't know anything about that, but I think it's possible. Crypto Alchemist. I wish I could make it to record it all and live stream it to my channel this year, but I'm going to make sure to be in position to come down from Canada for the 2025 year conference. Hey, we'll see you. We'll see you the following year. Then I hope we have it the following year. I think we will. I don't know if it'll be as epic as this year, but we're always planning to be as epic. But man, if you can't make it this year, man, plan for next year. So yeah, that'll be great.
A couple of people asking about Harry Hubbard's artifacts. Are they real?
So Harry Hubbard's artifacts, if you wanted to talk to somebody who knows about Burrows Cave, it's Harry Hubbard, man. He spent a lifetime gathering up information, interviewing people, digging through. Him and Paul Safranca have figured out how to translate this stuff. He's got a lot of artifacts. I know the gold artifacts that he has, they were replicas that were made of the artifacts that they took out, the gold artifacts that they took out of Burrows Cave before they melted them. They made replicas. I know Harry's got some of those replicas. And as far as what is real and what's not, you'd have to ask Harry because he's way smarter than me, him and Paul. And they're able to figure out, some of the ones that are real and the ones that aren't. And so, you'd have to ask that, but I would say he does have some real stuffs. But I know this, he's got the largest picture photo collection, and he shared it with me of all the artifacts that came out of there. You know, Harry, when you're talking Burrows Cave, you're talking a wealth of information. And clear back in the middle 2000s, you know, we was in contact with Burrows, and he was going to take us in and show us the cave. And Harry says, you know, he'll never take you and show you, and he didn't, you know. But you know, I didn't personally spend a lot of time with Russ Burrows. You know, I met him, and he came and spoke to. We had a big conference, the Ancient Historical Research Foundation, and he came and spoke for us. And I was in charge of picking him up and taking him back to his hotel and doing all that stuff, and got to know him. So. Some few people that knew him better than me, and White Eagle, my partner, he knew him way better than me. White Eagle spoke to him for a year every day, for an hour every day. And I asked White Eagle, I says, man, you need to start recording this stuff, because White Eagle is able to put things together, you know, from all their different conversations from for a year, you know, and pinpoint some things. And I asked him to record this stuff, and he never ever did, man. That was a tragedy, because there was a lot of information, whether it was correct or not. There's still a lot of great information. But back to Harry Hubbard. The one guy that knows the most about Burrows Cave is Harry Hubbard.
The Soul Transfer Protocol is driving 11 hours from California this evening.
Who's this?
The Soul Transfer Protocol.
Soul Transfer Protocol, man. 11-hour drive to get to the Moon Lake Gathering. You're coming from California. That's where Dan Dillman's coming from, is from California, you know. Man, I appreciate you coming all this way, but I think it's going to be well worth it for you. And what you need to really do is talk with everybody there. There's so much knowledge going to be there at the gathering that no way it can all be covered. You know, you just need to talk with people. And like I say, if you're shy about talking to people, just go. If you see small groups talking or large groups talking, just go eavesdrop, you know.
I apologize to the Apache treasure. My iPad cuts them off. I can't see what they're writing.
Apache treasure. My wife says her iPad's cutting off what you wrote, and he can't read what you wrote. So she apologizes.
Tyler Tipton again. Can't wait for you at the gathering.
Tyler Tipton, I can't wait to meet you.
Travis McKnight, not to mention the mounds of American large stone flutes were found. They were ceremonial because of their size. It was a flute of the giant. Oh, that keeps going up. I can't read it all.
Oh, you can scroll it down. And who was that said that?
Travis McKnight. Travis
McKnight. Sounds like you're way, way, way smarter on this stuff than me. You know, I didn't know that there was flutes that was giant. You're smarter than that on me, but I don't doubt it, not one bit. Well, with that said, I just want to say to you guys, man, that I really appreciate you watching my videos. You know, it never was started. I just needed a way to share some of my videos with some of my friends, and before I knew it, you know, people had subscribed, and I thought that was crazy. And I appreciate you guys that like it, and the thing that keeps me going is you guys, and hearing you guys' stories, and because you guys are way, way, way smarter than I'll ever be, you know, and I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And for those that are coming to the Moon Lake Gathering, make sure you stop me and say hi. And for those that can't make it, I'll try to film some of it. I've tried to live stream it. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe there'll be somebody that can help me live stream it, or maybe there'll be some others there can do some stuff, and together, man, we can get it so the rest of you can see this, because this is going to be an awesome event. And with that said, unless there's any real questions, man, I think I'm going to end this. Well, with that said, I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I probably never got to all you guys' questions. I didn't answer all you guys' questions great, because I'm a scatterbrained. But you guys are a lot smarter than me, and there's going to be a lot of knowledge at the Moon Lake Gathering, and we hope to see you guys there, August 23rd and 24th, 2024, where we're not that far from Skinwalker Ranch, where we're not that far from Blind Frog Ranch, where there's all kinds of things happening in the Uinta Mountains, from the Spanish treasures to the Bigfoot to the UFO. There is a lot of great speakers coming, but there is a lot of people coming with a lot of knowledge. And with that said, that's a wrap, and thank you guys.
And they're all saying thank you to you.
Well, thank you guys. Now, I don't know how to, oh, right there. I'm going to say, I don't know how to shut this off. I got to learn how to, I got to do this a few more times just so I can learn how to start this, because definitely I didn't start this one right. So anyways, hey, you guys have a great one. That's a wrap. Over and out.